guys, this is Coach Aaron, as you know, but I wanted to introduce you to my friend Nate. Nate, Last is your last name, right?
Yeah, it's a bad last name for an athlete. It really is.
But I discovered Nate actually last year. I looked in my calendar. It was actually 6 months ago. It was like last June.
Oh, that's cool.
And I talked to him about his mental skills program, and because I was fascinated with it. And of course, as triathletes, that's such a huge aspect of our sport, as far as mindset and improving your performance, but also how to fit triathlon in everyday life. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. So I think I spoke to you for like 45 minutes, and I had like 5 ahas that I've actually implemented into my own, training and implemented with you guys, whether you know it or not. So I wanted to officially join with him and have him come on as an affiliate, but I wanted to let you guys know about him. So we decided to put this together, this quick webinar. So Nate, if you could kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we're gonna go through kind of a quick 5 skills session, just so everyone understands exactly what we're talking about when it comes to mental skills training. I'll talk a little bit about pricing and how that works, as well as we'll be joining you in Cat Camp, which is I'm really excited about. It will be virtually, but still you'll have access, and that's the whole point of all of this. Mental skills training is a big part of triathlon. We know that we're all head cases, let's be honest. And I wanted to provide a source, an outlet, I guess you could say, for, hey, it's a big part of training. Let's make sure that people have access. Let's make sure that your athletes have access to a mental skills trainer, just like the professionals do, just like the Olympic athletes do. I hate the fact that it's only available to those athletes. And as an athlete myself, it really provided a huge asset for me in my university career, not as a triathlete, but also as a lacrosse player. So I played collegiate lacrosse, as well as golf and lacrosse in high school. A huge, huge advocate for athletics. And I always felt like I was missing something. I always felt like I had the physical attributes. I was fast. I could get down the track as fast as I possibly could, and I was good. But then there was the games, and there was the competitions, and there was the swing in my moods and my motivations, and I just didn't understand that part. So I went into university, and I went and learned. I went and tried to figure it all out. And it happened to be that there was this huge area of study within sports psychology that had been studied over the last 120 years of the best athletes in the world and what they do mentally in order to support their physical attributes. And that's what this is all about. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I am a coach. And you guys can call me such. You can call me Nate. You can call me Coach Last, whatever you'd like to. But realize that I'm not here to fix problems. If you have, emotional turmoil or, something going on with nutritional aspects that, deserves the respective therapy or what have you, then go that direction, and I can give you some resources for that. On the other side of things, we have the performance side of things, right? And including, things like motivation and focus and confidence, being able to understand and know how our self-talk and our imagery kind of integrates into our practices and into our training and our racing, emotional control, it's all part of it. But really quick, let's actually go through the 5 skills so you understand what we're talking about. And Aaron, I want you to talk to your athletes a little bit about each of these and your understanding of each of these. But the first one up is emotional control or emotional response control. What part does that play in triathlon? I think we all know, but tell us a little bit about your perspective on this.
I mean, yeah, honestly, our emotions can kind of dictate the entire day. And of course, our workout, our training, our performance. So if you're not able to kind of rein in your emotions when you need to, pre-workout, pre-race, post-race, based on what happens, I mean, that's a huge aspect, right? So that's what I believe is what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And there's going to be those athletes who are really solid, day of the race, they've been able to sleep the night before, they've been able to take those anxieties or those emotions, which are all normal, by the way, and they've been able to rein them in and use them to help them rather than hurt them. I think some people just don't really know what to do with that, emotion. And that's what we help you understand and do. And realize that these skills that we're talking about mentally are skills. It's not like they're talents. It's not like they're just things that we're all of a sudden good at. They are things that we develop purposefully. They are things that I teach athletes, and they have to train them and you will have to train them as well and practice them, right? So yeah, every opportunity that we can to be in a stressful situation is a great opportunity to learn how to control those and use those anxieties, those emotions that come with training, that come with racing and all of that stuff. So skill number 2 is always focus and concentration. Focus, being able to put our attention where it needs to be, when it needs to be there, and concentration over a long period of time, obviously with triathlon, not only in competition, but also in training. We know we can lose focus in training. So being able to stay focused and get the most out of every training is so impactful. Where do you see focus and concentration as a skill inside of athletics, inside of triathlon specifically?
Well, specifically, I feel like a lot of athletes just want instant gratification. That's just our society right now.
Yeah, and we're trained that way.
Okay, I've been coaching 20 years, download, plug it in, give you all I have, from the last 21 years, and I want to know it today. Like, that's it.
Yes.
So I find it happens organically as the athlete needs it, but it doesn't hurt to have like skills in place, specific to mental skills to start implementing right away, right from the very beginning.
Yep. Absolutely. And really within this skill set, it really is about, hey, know where your focus is at. Is it on the cheeseburger and at the end of the race and finishing it, or is it where your feet are? Knowing what's helpful and what's hurtful inside of athletics and in training and competition, and then deliberately putting your focus where you want it to be. That's the skill. That is literally the skill. And we talk a lot about mindfulness inside of focus and concentration and mindfully going about your day. And a lot of my practice, a lot of what I teach athletes is based in this, concept of mindfulness. So if you've had a lot of, experience in it, those athletes who have, that's phenomenal. You guys will have a step up, to say the least. If you haven't ever heard of it and it's like, whoa, that's a crazy methodology, I've never even heard of that. We can teach you. It's easy. It just takes a lot of practice, as everybody knows, but we'll talk a lot about that later. The third concept, or the third skill that we're talking about, is self-talk. And self-talk, it plays a huge role inside of triathlon. We all know that we have that inner thing going on all the time, that conversation. And the skill here is being able to control and be aware of that self-talk, again, in order to help you rather than hurt you. What part does this play inside of your athletic or inside of your training, your competition?
Yeah, so for me, the self-talk is so important because, I always ask my athletes, what are you going to say to yourself as you're working as hard as you possibly can and that person still passes you? Yeah. Are you going to be like, oh, I'm such a loser, I suck? Or
which is easy to do, right? It's so easy to do. It's like, oh, I suck again, right? It's like,
Or are you going to be like, okay, next race, I'm going to work harder and I'm going to be with that person. Or I want to be like that person when I grow up because they're 60 years old and I'm 40, right? Yep. So that's the self-talk that helps me so much, like being able to flip a switch if I need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all find ourselves in the suck. We all do. Being able to know what to do when you do find yourself there is the important part, and making sure that you're doing something about it, because you can't get stuck in the suck. If you do, you will not have the great day. You will not have a great race. I've never seen an athlete get stuck in the suck and have a great experience, to say the least.
Yeah, and having the skill to get out of it. That's basically what is the most, especially during Ironman or half Ironman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I was there, and I just did Indian Wells this just last weekend, and I found myself there many times. I found myself there. And you
had a great race.
Oh, and I had a phenomenal race, but the only reason is because I was able to do something about it. And you got to realize everybody has it. Everybody has a shitty self-talk, and I'm going to say that purposefully. It is poopy. It really is. We need to be able to do something about it, and I'll teach you ways on how to go about that process to help rather than hurt. Again, one of those big things. The fourth concept or skill that we're talking about is called imagery, and I think everybody understands this as visualization, possibly. But what we do inside of sports psychology, inside of, with especially the Olympic athletes, is not just visualization, because that's just vision. We're talking more about imagery and creating an image, a real image that consists of not only what you see, but also what you smell, what you taste, what you hear, what you feel, because that's the reality of things. And you have to be able to center yourself on the reality in order to actually push through it in your mind. You got to create a proper image up here. Okay, yeah, you're going to face cold water. Well, feel the cold. Know that it's coming and react to it. oh, that's really cold. And I don't like that. That's just fine. All those reactions are just fine. But then you need to do something about it. I'm gonna keep focusing on my arms and pulling, even though it's cold, and I'm gonna get a headache. And I realize that. I know I am. I'm gonna feel that headache. That's just fine. Again, you gotta deal with that situation. So what are you gonna do when it comes? That way, you're practicing how you're responding to the chaos of emotions, the chaos of circumstances, or conflicts that are gonna come up throughout the race. I will say this: I've never seen a triathlete. Doesn't matter if they've won or lost. Get through any race that was perfect. There's never been a perfect race. There's always been challenges, and there's always been conflicts, and there's always been situations that they've had to handle as they come up.
Right.
What this whole idea of imagery does is just allows us to walk through the things that could happen, practice them before they happen, and then when they happen on course, we're able to deal with them. We're able to do something about them, or at least put ourselves in a place that's helpful. To move forward. So imagery is another big one. I can teach you a lot of cool things about it. If you guys have any questions about any of these, please let me know. But what are your thoughts about imagery, Aaron? Please help me understand where you put this in place.
So this was a big aha for me after we spoke. And because I give a lot of talks at pre-race clinics, and I'm always saying, okay, visualize your race, and also have plans in place for what if. And I would ask, raise your hand if you're worried about something that would happen. And everyone's like, oh no, I'm going to have the perfect race. Well,
nope.
That's not realistic, right?
Not real.
It's not negative to plan for a negative. It's actually positive to plan for a negative.
And this is one thing. I will say this. I don't care about negative and positive, because negative things can help people. Positive things can hurt people. I care about facilitative and debilitative.
I love that.
Stop being debilitative and start being facilitative, no matter what your situation is in. And we can talk a lot more about, oh my gosh, that gets me excited. That. So I am sorry, go ahead.
And then, so for me, I just started asking the athletes to imagine how they would feel, what it would smell like, just that rush of adrenaline as they cross the finish line, and really tap into that.
Yes.
Because that's going to be the motivation when it comes to those really, really hard parts in the race where you're not having the best day.
Yes.
So that was just huge for me as far as, trying to take it to the next level.
It's vivid, and using that vivid emotion, using that vivid image to create that motivation, to create that confidence, to get that excitement going on. And you can use imagery. Again, these are all things that you have control over. And I want everybody on the call today, or on the, listening to this, to realize that you have control over all of these things, and you can learn how to use them and manipulate them and have them help you to really unlock your full potential. I like to say this, and I'm going to be completely honest, at the Olympic level, right? At the Olympic level, competition is 80% mental and 20% physical, right? Because everybody has the same physical attributes at that level. They all have the same body. They all have the same amount of training or close to, right? They are all at this top percentage of physical potential.
Yeah,
that's great. That is phenomenal. And at that percent, right, it's all mental. That is what wins competitions at that level. Anything lower than that, though, and I will be honest here, right, and this is something that I found out for myself, it's not all mental. It's very physical, and I will say even 90% physical and 10% mental. But every 1% of mental mastery that you obtain, you unlock 10% of your physical potential. That's all you're doing with the mental game. And, obviously you've got to do the training, right? You've got to put the work in. You've got to get the body that is enabling you to get that, sub 2, sub 150, sub 130, whatever it might be. You have to have the lungs in order to be able to, swim super fast, right? You've got to be able to develop yourself physically. But at the end of the day, if you train your mind, if you train, the mental skills, you're just optimizing your potential on race day.
Right.
That's the whole point of all of it. So I need you to understand it's not all about mental. I will never say that to anybody. However, it plays a huge role on race day to have a great experience and to be able to support yourself and to keep training long-term for a long, long period of time and have a great, great career. That's the exciting part. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and would you tell us a little bit about the plan possibly for camp? Help us understand kind of what that might look like. Obviously, I'm excited for camp. I've been a part of a lot of camps before as an athlete as well as a coach. But help us understand that piece really quick as a quick introduction to this.
Yeah, too bad. I mean, you are invited to come join us at camp because it's going to be nice and warm, but I know you have a new baby on the way.
Yeah, I got a baby coming on, so.
Might not be realistic. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have Nate on a webinar, live for him, like a Zoom, just like this, but we're recording this, right? But he's going to be live, and we're going to come up with what I feel like is the most important thing to focus on at camp. We haven't actually come up with the itinerary yet. But he also has a really cool thing that we're going to be introducing in the beginning of 2019 as a group, his 12-week program. So maybe just talk about that real quick, and then we'll wrap up.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to be providing just a 12-week mental skills training introduction to you guys. You guys can use it at any time as a part of Erin's program, of Erin's coaching. Because you are part of her coaching, this is going to be something that you are able to use at any time. And I believe Coach is going to be utilizing that with you guys alongside.
Yeah, together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm going to do, it's like a 10-15 minute video with homework and projects.
Yeah, and I will actually share that now with everybody, kind of what that might look like. This is the program that you guys will be seeing. You guys are going to get videos. You're going to get the workbook with everything. That way you can always come back to it. If you do have questions, you can always come back to it and say, hey, this is something that I can develop. This is something that I can use. But as a quick explainer, really, week 1 is all about deliberate focus. Week 2 is all about this idea of developing a process before outcome kind of mindset and what that does for you. And it all the way, goes all the way through 12 weeks of just getting some introduction items across and getting you started within mental skills training. And it's been super helpful for all the athletes that I've utilized it for so far. So I hope you enjoy it. All in all, as an affiliate of Coach's program, really, in the end, you guys have access to me. You can ask me questions. You can ask Erin questions, and then she'll ask me questions. You have access to me, so let me know if you have any questions. I will always be supportive of anything that comes across my desk, and we'll get you started. Now, having said that, I do offer a couple of products specifically regarding an assessment, mental skills assessment, that will help you understand your sport personality or your athletic personality. This report will be given to you as the athlete to help you know kind of what your mental aspects are, your mental assets as well. Secondly, we can give a profile to your coach to understand how to work with you more effectively. And that's how I always start all of my consults off with that assessment. It's called the performance profile. And I utilize that performance profile from youth athletes all the way up to Olympic level athletes. And it's been super effective and helpful for not only the athlete, but also the coach. Secondly, if you want to continue after that, I do run my sessions at $75 per session, which is actually 30% off my normal rates because you guys are a part of Erin's program. So with that being said, I will be available for any one-on-one work specifically for you that you want to do. But again, if you do have any questions, you can always just throw me an email and I will respond to those as soon as I possibly can. And hey, if you do have a lot of questions coming in, or if we have a lot of questions coming in that are all about the same topic, might as well do a webinar. You guys tell us what
you guys are all going to be getting all his information, and I just thought it was a good idea to have him introduce himself and kind of explain a little bit more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Nate, thank you so much.
Thank you.
At camp and doing the 12-week program, and hopefully working with you one-on-one with a couple of the athletes, right?
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Let me know if you have any questions, but we'll see you guys in a bit. Okay.